Hi, this is how you install CrossOver and play Fallout 4 on your MacBook M series computer. I'm using a MacBook Pro M2 Pro, but the game actually runs perfectly fine on most M series MacBooks. In this tutorial, I'll be using CrossOver version 25.1.1, but the process is very similar on both older and hopefully newer versions of CrossOver as well. I'll be using the Steam version of Fallout 4 since that is the one I own myself, and we will also go through how to apply all needed audio and graphical fixes for making the game run really well. Alright, first we're going to start by downloading CrossOver, which is just a matter of going to Google and searching for CrossOver. I'm using the paid version here, but you can also download the demo version. That is basically the full version, but limited to 14 days if you want to try it out for yourself first. After downloading, we get a warning when we try to open the program that it is downloaded from the internet. Here we know that it's safe, so we click open and then select to move the program to the applications folder. Then we will again get the same downloaded from the internet warning, which we will again select open on. Now with CrossOver opened, we firstly want to install the so-called Steam bottle. A bottle here is basically an enclosed little environment where the things or programs inside the bottle knows nothing about the outside world and won't be affected or know that it's actually running inside a macOS computer. To do this, we click on Install, search for Steam, and then select Install. We then let the installer finish up, selecting to move forward with every little pop-up that appears. After everything is done, we unselect the Run Steam button since we are not yet fully done in CrossOver. Then we want to install the Fallout 4 so-called cross tie, which is not the actual game, we'll get to that soon, but instead a bunch of fixes and automated settings pre-done to make the game run as smooth as possible. To get this one, we again just search, but this time for Fallout 4, and then click on the Fallout 4 cross tie icon. Before hitting install, we click the little settings icon to the right and select a bottle. Here we select the Steam bottle we just created to make sure that the fixes are installed in the Steam bottle environment only. Then we select install and let everything finish up. Here Steam will also be automatically started. However, for now we want to close it again since we have a few more things to do first. Now again, we make sure that we are in the Steam bottle and then we look to the menu to the right. In here we can choose to leave things as they are, but usually setting the graphics to D3D metal and synchronization to M-Sync is what gives the best results with most games, at least right now. D3D metal is basically how the program translates the DirectX codec from Windows and used in games, and M-Sync is on the other hand a bunch of commands describing how instructions from games to the operating system is handled. Lastly, we also want to add a few audio fixes to the game to make sure everything sounds as it should and also that the game is not crashing because of any sound bugs. To do this, we click on Wine Configuration to the right and then select the Libraries tab. In here, we place our marker in the box under New Override and then we write X Audio. Here we get tons of different alternatives, but the ones we want to add to the override list are firstly the X Audio 2_6. So we select this one and then we click Add. Then we repeat the same process, but this time with X Audio 2_7. We also need to add the X3D Audio 1_6 and X3D Audio 1_7. However, these are usually already added by the Fallout Fixes pack, the cross-tie settings that we already installed like they are here. So once done, we then click OK. Lastly, however not though always necessary, is to click on Command Space on your computer's keyboard to open Spotlight. Then do a search for MIDI and hit Enter. In here, if you experience any sound sync issues with the game, that the sound feels off, it is usually because the hertz frequency needs to be set to 96,000 instead of 48,000 on the speakers you are using. Changing this doesn't really have any impact on the normal audio from the computer, so change it if you want and if you experience any sound issues in the game. Now after this, it is finally time to start Steam and log into our account like normal. There. Now we select Fallout 4 in the list of games and then we select install and pick where we want the game to be installed. If you want to add an external hard drive to put your games on, please see this video on how to do that. Link also available in the video description. After the game is downloaded and installed, we start it and then let it set the video settings. After this, we don't start the game, but we actually close the installer because there are two more fixes we need to apply before actually playing. Here, what we want to do is that we want to open a Finder window and then select Go up in the menu, followed by Documents. In Documents, we select My Games, Fallout 4, and then right-click fallout4.ini and select to open it with Text Edit. The first thing we want to do here is to change the B disable all gore equals 0 to equals 1. This basically stops the game from crashing every time an enemy dies a bit on the rougher side in the game. If you don't have this row in the ini file, just add it like it's written here with the capital and lowercase letters, since this is case sensitive. Next and finally, we also need to add a mouse fix so that we can actually use our mouse cursor correctly inside the game. Here we scroll down to the controls section and then we press space to add a new row and write lowercase b followed by background mouse equals 1, just like it's written here. Then we hit file and save followed by closing the Fallout 4 ini document. Alright, now it's finally time to click play. Before actually starting though, we click options. Here we let the graphics and resolutions settings be as they are. The game should be running in window mode and in a borderless window. As for the resolution, this should match the scale resolution of your computer's display. In my case, it's 1800 x 1169 pixels. If you want to try a higher resolution, the best way is usually to set your MacBook's display to the desired resolution in the computer's display settings and then restart CrossOver and Steam as well. You can also test around with the detail settings, but I'm gonna change it to high instead of ultra, since the actual graphical upgrade is not really worth the extra loss in smoothness and FPS in game. We then click advanced and deselect motion blur, as well as that we set God rays to off, since they are both very performance heavy functions. And then we play. Hopefully everything is now working as it should. Like mentioned, you can try around with tweaking the detail settings to make the game run a bit smoother if it is lagging. On my MacBook Pro M2 Pro, it runs fantastic though, especially looking at how many things are actually going on in the background. Average frame rate with the current graphics settings is around 60 FPS in most areas, with some spikes here and there of up to 70 to 80 FPS and sometimes down to around 40-ish FPS in more open and densely populated areas. And even though there are some slight graphical glitches here and there, like blinking textures and some slow loading of details and shadows, I would say that the game is still extremely playable and runs really well. Alright, that is about that. Please though share any thoughts or questions down in the comments below and I'll do my best to help with what I can. Thank you for watching. Bye.